ladies and gentlemen, friends, dignitaries, distinguished leaders, industry captains, and of course, fellow community members of the home interior industry, a very, very warm welcome to the Home and Home Plus Conclave, a knowledge initiative that's been encouraged by Creaticity, arguably India's first curated destination for branded interiors. So thank you so much for being here. And I can only say that there were quite a few reasons. I'll probably summarize them in as crisp a way as possible. First things first is the home interior industry is actually growing at an accelerated pace. The momentum of action is really picking up. Second, of course, there's a lot of new business models emerging, co-opting, co-creating, co-sharing. A lot of business models are emerging. A lot of brands are coming in, brands and retailers are coming in, new formats are coming in, Indian, international, and they continue to come in. And a whole lot of tech experience enablers are also adding tremendous value to the home interior business. Now, old retailers, established retailers are reinventing themselves. There's a gradual shift that's happening from unorganized to semi-organized, and semi-organized are trying to become organized, and the organized are trying to become more organized. Is there a way that we can sort of put all this wisdom that's being co-created into one single place? Is there a possibility to have one platform where all this can be actually shared? And that's where the reason for creating the Home and Home Plus Conclave, the sole purpose of creating the Home and Home Plus Conclave is to collectively bring together the members of the fraternity across various stakeholder groups. The home category, the core categories, furniture, furnishings, and home decor is something that we know. The Home Plus categories, unfortunately today we don't have much of representation there today. Hopefully in the coming editions we'll be able to get them as well. The home automation people, the lighting people, the entire experience, tech enablers, marketeers. We would love all of them to come into this fold so that the Home and Home Plus Conclave can be as meaningful as it can. On that note, I'll again say that today I'm invoking the words of a famous Tamil poet. If people have gone to Kanyakumari, and I belong to South, so Kanyakumari is where we have this great poet Thiruvalluvar's statue, the tall one. And he said that wealth of knowledge obtained through listening is the greatest wealth of all. So today is a time when hopefully all of us will come together, listen to wonderful experiences, examples, and of course, a lot of knowledge that's going to be shared that converts into wisdom the moment we add our experience and our intellect to it.
Unique occasion for me and for CSIL to learn more about the furniture sector, the furniture market in India. After the drop in 2020, due to obvious reasons, and with closure of markets and retail stores and so on, in 2021, consumption at the global level growth registered a very impressive growth. An increase in the demand for furniture, which was even higher than the expectation. This was obviously due because of the situation of households staying at home, working at home, entertaining at home, doing school at home. So a lot of emphasis was put on furniture.
Growth in this category will only come on the backdrop of growing the category itself. And if you had to grow the category, then maybe collaboration is going to play a very important role to really enable that growth.
But in 2022, in the organized sector share can potentially reach by 2028 26% of the total market, thanks to the tremendous growth in online channels. And Digital India is also, the governmental program facilitating online buying as a new normal is also a driver. Rise in urban population. In 2011, 31% of India were living in cities. In 2036 are expected to be more 39%. So from 823 to almost 1 billion. So that's a huge increase.
What are some of the 4 or 5 key points that that are required to make the sector more organized and to bring in larger players to sort of create a network which is easier to do. I mean, globally also it's a relatively unorganized sector compared to other sectors. So what do we need to do in India to change that?
The largest part of it, in my mind, is transparency. Today, in the unorganized furniture sector in India, it's amazing that every part of it is broken. Neither are prices the same as what are predicted in the beginning. It is not delivered as per the time that is promised, and the quality is not guaranteed either. So if you actually look at it as a determinant in any other business, at least you will have the unorganized sector that delivers on one of the three things, is where transparency across what is possible for a brand to deliver on these three parameters, and then a brand truly building and delivering on these parameters. Another big factor with the consumer set I see is personalization. Nobody wants cookie-cutter homes. Nobody wants to have something that your neighbors do or your family does or even your friends do. You want some level of, this is mine and this means something to me, right? And I think after transparency, personalization is a huge factor why the organized sector will differentiate from the unorganized sector.
The first thing that had to be disrupted in this business in order to organize it is set up a large distribution network, right? And especially for furniture, this is highly nuanced because shipping a furniture from one place to the other place, which is 4,000 kilometers, is not easy, right? The second very important, again, nuance of the category is that inherently these categories are driven by variety. What it means is a consumer would want to go to multiple shops before they make a purchase decision. Now, again, therefore, need for marketplaces became very important. Creaticity, the entire concept around, how a mall is created only for furniture is something which becomes very important, right? Because consumers want to see more variety. Variety happen only when you can, show many shops at a place, right?
What I personally feel is what is changing now and what we all need to work is increase the stake of the consumer in our category and go beyond, design and go beyond the look and the feel and say what really it's going to provide as a benefit to the consumer, and that's very important. I think we realize that we find, at least in our product category, you spend 1/3 of your life. If you live for 75 years, you're sleeping for 25 years, right? But nobody realizes that you are happy to spend on everything around, but not on the mattress where you're actually going to rest. So overall, I keep saying, and I believe this industry is where paint was maybe 25 years back, where painting was not a great celebration time. In fact, it was a pain because you had to cover everything and move out, and then you are painting and you're sitting. Now it's like a celebration time in the house. Like you're painting, you're choosing color, furniture, and this entire home category is moving into that space. I don't think there is anything like, from a consumer standpoint, online only. I think it's a omni-channel that will really work.
Eric, coming to you, you've worked in many different countries. You talked about Southeast Asia, etc. Just what are the learnings from these markets towards India?
If I visit Indian families and I ask if I can open the wardrobe, open the kitchen cabinet, I see a lot of air. Because of the customization, and that's why the point of personalization is so important. Yes, I can have a beautiful wardrobe, but if all the shelves are at the same distance from each other and I cannot change that, in the end, I store air, because I only pile up my belongings so much. So it's about smart interior fitters. It's about having modular furniture systems where you, as the customer, can decide at what level do I put the shelf, how many drawers do I need. Last week I was on holidays in Jaipur, staying in a beautiful hotel with my mother, and I was actually very surprised when we opened the wardrobe in this hotel that is clearly designed by a wonderful designer. There's no opportunity for long dresses. I've lived here for 2.5 years. I can tell you, after having lived in 10 countries across the world, India by far is the country where women, the share that they wear longer garments is by far the biggest. How is it then possible that I cannot hang that in my 5-star luxury hotel, let alone in the average person's home, right? So it is about being clever, about understanding the customer and what they want, because eventually commerciality is about that, doing business is about that. It's about staying close to our customers.
Wow, some interesting thoughts. Be careful when you invite him to your house for dinner. He's going to be in your wardrobe, giving you some good feedback. I think they're going to be around, hopefully, so please reach out to them pick their brains a bit more. Some great knowledge here, lots of great information here. Thank you everybody for a fantastic session. Lots of learnings for me. I'm just trying to make notes as we speak, but thank you everybody, and thank you for being so patient as an audience.
Personalization, customization are very, very big challenges in India. And our problem there starts with the designers. Designers don't like to buy what is available. Repeat. Designers don't like to buy what's available. Unless they use their pencil and cut some piece of your furniture, change the size, change the color, change the stitch, make the red, our left arm red and the blue arm and right arm blue, they're not happy. So, that's another thing that we have to start adapting, changing. And yes, it's correct that, one of the biggest challenges of India is the middle class can't afford a designer. Only the upper class is affording a designer, and the upper class is asking the designer to do everything different. Nothing should repeat in any home. It's just like their wedding dress, can't repeat.
One thing Singapore taught me was how to do business without money in your pocket. And one thing we learned is to be a mattress boy. Honestly, I tell you, you've got to have luck in life to get into a product space which you like, which your body likes. And I basically think this country has got one of the biggest opportunities of great sleep. We guys have only focused on some good quality sleep, and we have grown because of that part of it.
I took up 2 interior design jobs, didn't get paid for them, did the entire work, and end of the day, customer just didn't pay. So very early in life, I learned that services के लिए you will not get paid, product बेचने में ही कमाई है, and immediately moved to the brand that my dad made, the company my dad started.
What should I do and what I should not do? Because what we are trying to address as a problem statement is massive. We understand that. It's a huge problem. And I think that comes with the fact that how do I prioritize? How do we prioritize what we should do and what we should not do? Like scoping what we built for first phase itself went through a lot of deliberation. What all should I give in the first phase? It's easy for me to say add wallpaper, add painting, add loose furniture because those are easy to execute items, relatively for us from a technology standpoint. But is that what I want to do first, or do I want to solve the trickiest problem, which is the fixed furniture, according to us? Right? And so those prioritization, what we should do, what we should not do, because obviously all your resources are aligned to that.
So now is the time to honor some of the legends of this industry. First, I'd like to invite Mr. Anil Goyal, the former Managing Director of Etic India. I would say I know the industry, I'm say from people who are doing 1 crore to even 500 crore or 2,000 crores, their cost structure. Lot of value is being destroyed by all of us across the chain. So we have to become efficient, really efficient if we do not want the growth to be impacted. And for which I believe we will also have to change the business model, and we have to concentrate what is critical to the business and should be done in-house, and what is not critical, which should be outsourced. Just we have to make sure that we deliver the right value to the customer, and that's end customer, not my manufacturer, the dealer or somebody else.
Next, we honor Mr. Rajesh Mahajan, the owner of Maspar. We have Mr. Abhinav Mahajan, Mr. Rajesh Mahajan's son, here to collect the award on behalf of his father.
One thing for customers, always be honest. When we started in 2002 with the first store, we had a money-back guarantee. So, and we made sure even till today, If a customer comes back after 10, 15 years of using your product, we don't question. We ask them if you want your money back or you want a replacement of the product. So stick to that because you are there because of your customer.
Now I'd like to invite Mr. Anil Mathur, former CEO of Godrej Interior.
The moment we bring in the standards, then this inclusive growth can come in. And that is something that we must start thinking, because this story of organized or unorganized is not in a customer's mind. It is in the mind of all of us who are sitting here. We can consider as organized or unorganized. Customer doesn't think it's organized. For him, it's someone who's providing him the product and services which satisfy and make him happy.
For the first time in India, we set up a modular showroom with 5 kitchens. Yes, kitchen accessories got a real boost, but the curious interest was in complete kitchen solutions. We started getting orders for complete solutions. We started our business in August 15, and by the end of the very first month, the sales touched 15 lakhs.
Building the X of some other country potentially doesn't work. There's an Indian context. The Indian consumer has different needs and demands. They are going to tell you what they need. I think the key is how do we constantly listen to what they are saying and be able to adapt our business models, adapt our strategy accordingly.
That more landlords invest in buying the properties and putting it on rent as a secondary income for them, but majority of the apartments are unfurnished. They don't want to spend extra amount to furnish that. And the biggest challenge is that if they keep the apartment unfurnished, they get lower rental yields and a lower occupancy. So it's a catch-22 situation. So if you have a furnished apartment, it rents out faster, but at the same time, to furnish it and to maintain it, you have to go through that hassle.
We're bringing industry at one platform, creating the occupational map, creating the national occupation standards, creating training infrastructure standards, trainer standards, assessor standards, doing training programs, and the government is spending money for us. Please take note. In the last 7 years, most of you who raised their hands have not actually utilized the benefit of what government was spending on us. When we keep on asking government support nahi kar rahi hai, government ye nahi kar rahi hai, can we, with that unawareness, without that participation, achieve what we are aiming at?
Whenever we need to have a tower, we need to have a strong foundation. रेत के मलबे पे टावर खड़ा नहीं हो सकता है. So there are 4 ingredients. One is raw material, second is skilled labor, investing in design and technology, and last is SOPs. Then we have a right recipe to create a right product.
When you have the manufacturing setup coming up in India, we will be creating a lot of jobs. When we create jobs, we will create income. When we create income, we create further demand also. We must look at this way that this is how the country moved.
So individualization is a mega trend of an increasingly differentiated society. In a kind of counter trend to globalization, individual lifestyles and unique products are growing in popularity. Millennials and Gen Z, or at least a significant part of them, seem to see more than previous generation their homes as an extension of their own identity and their personality that they want to be. And so this, in fact, takes us to the moat aspect of customization and personalization. So, in a sense, the form and function of our homes and how they shape our home. So, I'll begin with my first question, and I'll start with Tanuj. So, Tanuj, is there a conscious realization that there is an emerging concept of the segment of one, the personalization part? Is there a conscious realization that there's an emerging concept of segment of one?
We have noticed a lot more consumers
being confident about what their requirements are, about coming to us with context saying, you know what, these are the kind of things that I have seen in my life, these are the kind of things that I want. Will you be able to cater to these particular needs? And I think the challenge for us, at least at HomeLane as consumer brands, is you can't be creating something new for every customer who comes. You need to take a combination of things that you've built and be able to offer it in the most personalized way.
Subodhji, do you think that identity living and therefore individualization is something that Godrej as a company and you as a professional believe is going to be the way forward?
So if you look at home furniture, the customization has been there since ages, right? But it was driven by the supply side. You go to the carpenter and carpenter will give you whatever you want. It was always there. Now the difference is, now it is being driven by the demand side. Now the customers are saying, look, I want a customized solution. And therefore, I think the complexity has changed. Now you need to learn about the customer much more, because earlier it was like that was the only supply solution available, and that's why it is happening. And therefore, understanding the customer, each customer as a separate individual has become very important here.
Rajivji, do you want to add on and also give the perspective from the home furnishing space in terms of the segment of one and identity living, as we call it?
One, what is change? First change is knowledge explosion. A lot of knowledge is being available to customer, and that is driving us to change how we operate. The second part, the technology has been a big enabler to, as we say, understand the customer, segment the customer, communicate to customer, and even for many categories, produce the product and execute the order and provide the services. I think that has become easier with the technology, and that is what we should drive at.
So do you think that this emerging trend, mega trend of individualization is going to probably change the way that you look at products, look at sourcing, look at also the end customer offering? Do you perceive that?
We are still struggling with solutions for sofas and beds, because even my wife, I was trying to sell her a 2.1 meter sofa, and she wanted exactly 2.38 meter sofa, because that's the width of my wall. In this case, I had no other way, but I had to go back to the vendor and tell him because of my relation, he could make it 2.38 meters. But otherwise, it's almost impossible to do that on a scale.
On that note, I'm going to say thank you. Thanks for your time, gentlemen, on this panel. Conclude the evening by saying that it's been a fabulous day of knowledge sharing, and the word joy was used. And I should say that, the joy of knowledge sharing is fabulous. The joy of actually co-creating this entire session has been really, I would say, from the bottom of our heart, a big thanks to each one of you.